Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum friends. Welcome back to the latest episode of Manchester United Verse. We'll be doing these live sessions in which I'll be giving you the updates for the transfers. And guys, please do subscribe to the channel. Please press that subscribe button, press that like button as well. If you can, please share this channel with your friends who are Manchester United supporters. So what we're going to do is we'll be doing this episode in which we'll be giving you the transfer updates for Manchester United, and we have new news and we have updating news which has been coming in the media. We're going to be starting from there. So what we'll do is we'll go bit by bit and we'll give you the updates for each and every single player which has been so far linked, and as well as there's some surprises as well. You've seen in the thumbnail and you can see it right now in front of your screens. We have put some players. The reason we're putting those players because there's a new article which came in the Athletic. As you know that the Athletic is one of the modern day transfer news where we get the news from regarding clubs, and what we get is it's more close to the relevant ones, like the relevant journalists as based for each specific club do give in their reports what they're hearing from the club themselves, from the other resources as well. So right now guys, what we're going to do is we'll be going straight away, be jumping into Frankie de Jong. As we all know that Frankie de Jong was first of all hesitant to leave Barcelona, but because of the economic situation at Nou Camp, it seems that Frankie de Jong will be sold by Barcelona. Barcelona right now are in need of cash. They need lots of capital. They need at least 500 million euros or pounds. It's basically, the reason is that the fact of the matter is that Barcelona are in debt and they need to raise those capital. They need to raise that much cash, and in order to do that they need to sell their assets. And it seems that Frankie de Jong is one of the players which they think that there is value in him, and they think that it's pretty much that they don't need him because they have got other players in his position. They got the likes of Pedri, they've got the likes of Gavi, and they think that the players of those caliber which are being produced from Masia Academy, they seem to be are equal to the skills of Frankie de Jong, and they think that Frankie de Jong is a little bit expensive. And right now Xavi does like to have Frankie de Jong, but because of that financial situation, Frankie de Jong, it seems that he'll be leaving Barcelona and moving to a new club. Now the club which has been reported mostly in the media has been Manchester United. All the other clubs, they have distanced themselves from Frankie de Jong due to the fact that they have other interests, they have other targets as well. So Manchester United are pretty much looking that they could purchase Frankie de Jong. Eric Ten Hag, who has basically have got Frankie de Jong playing under him in Ajax, he seems to value this player. He seems to think that this player would bring that thing which he needs in his team. And right now he thinks that a club such as Manchester United are in need of a player like Frankie de Jong. He needs to put that player in a system in which they can play that kind of football that they employed in Ajax, with quick passing, with quick tempo, with fast electricity kind of football. They try to employ 4-3-3 system in which there is a defensive midfielder, and the two midfielders which are sitting next to the defensive midfielders tend to pass the ball. They are progressive passers. Frankie de Jong is one of that player. Recently he played in that international friendly, and his current manager LVG, Louis van Gaal, he apparently said that players such as Frankie de Jong excels the team performance. They tend to play in another dimension, and that's what Frankie de Jong will bring for Manchester United. Now coming back to the point that how much would it cost. Now the fee which has been reported in the media has been around 80 million euros. The news which is coming from the England media is that United are seeking about 50 to 60 million, and they want to pay the rest in add-ons. So that means that if Frankie de Jong wins something, Frankie de Jong scores so many goals, or Frankie de Jong wins a trophy, then Manchester United would be willing to pay, and that's what they are looking for. They don't want to pay as much as they can. Barcelona on the other hand, they are trying their best to get as much as they could. Like they would want a straight 80 million, but I think there'll be a compromise when both of the clubs do sit down. Now the news which has been coming in is that Frankie de Jong has accepted his transfer to Manchester United. So that means that there's an agreement. He's willing to join Manchester United, where he wasn't just 2 weeks ago. He wasn't willing to join Manchester United, but right now he is willing to do so. So that's what it is. So that's a positive news. So Frankie de Jong will be joining United. It's just a matter of fee. and I think that the clubs will do agree, and Frankie de Jong will soon be that marquee signing that Manchester United do need. As far as we are going to be speaking about the other targets, now Darwin Núñez, the reason I haven't put his picture on the thumbnail is because due to the fact that Darwin Núñez is close to signing for Liverpool. Now, if he signs for Liverpool, what it means is that Manchester United, they were interested in Darwin Núñez. Now, Darwin Núñez, the figure they are reporting is 80 million euros plus 20 million euros in add-ons. That means that Manchester United do not have that much capital due to the fact that they are out of Champions League. They don't have that extra cash to burn. Now, if Manchester United would want to get Darwin Núñez, they would have to spend around 80 plus 20, that's 100 million. And if they go for Frankie de Jong, you're talking about 160 million, 180 million. United can't spend that much money on two players. They need other players as well. As far as United fans think, they think that United do need at least a minimum of 6 to 7 players. Now, United do know that they cannot get these amount of players in, you could say, in this much time, because the reason is that they haven't got that much cash. Now, they've got so many players who have left as free agents. They would want to acquire some of good deals, that means economical deals, and also the quality of the players aren't compromised. Now, the name which has been linked recently has been of Eriksen. Now, Eriksen is a pretty good player. He is a fantastic midfielder. He had this injury, he had this mishap in the Euros in which he had a heart failure, but luckily he was saved on the pitch, and he has been playing for Brentford. He has been playing superbly. Now, United were linked to him earlier as well in 2019, and due to the Tottenham valuation, United didn't go in for him. But right now, as it seems that it might be the fact that if United do go for him, they don't have to pay any money. They just have to offer him wages, as Mata is leaving, so that would be a good replacement, like 30 years of age, and what quality he has will be an excellent addition to the squad. Now, if United do sign Eriksen, that means they won't be spending any money. They get a midfielder, they get a quality player who can play in the advanced position. He can play as a number 10, he can play as a number 8 as well. So that's covered in that. If they get Frankie de Jong, that's 2 players. Now, coming back to the CDM point, defensive midfielder is such an issue with United fans. I think that it's an ongoing issue that nobody ever tends to think in the recruitment team that they need to buy a proper world-class defensive midfielder. If you would ask United fans, they would say that, you know what you need to do is, if you have a choice, you go out and spend lots of money on a player such as Giovanni or Declan Rice or any other player. Now, United, because due to the fact that they're not playing in Champions League, they haven't got those financial kind of budget. They don't have got that much money. What they need to do is they will go and focus other areas, because there's so many players who are leaving as free agents. When they go one by one with them, Cavani is leaving, Pogba is leaving, Lingard is leaving, Mata is leaving, Matic is leaving, and beside that, there are other players in the squad which squad needs to be getting rid of, such as Phil Jones, you got Martial, you got Eric Bailly, you've got Dean Henderson, you've got Alex Telles. You got so many players that you can sell and then you can recoup that much amount of money. Now, the key over here is that what United need to do is they need to sell these lot. They need to recoup as much as they can, around 60 to 80 million. And once they have that much money, then they need to go and spend. But right now, the new article which came out from Laurie Whitwell in The Athletic, what he tends to report is that United are looking at Kante. Now, Kante has a year remaining on his Chelsea contract. Now, if Kante was available on the market, then Erik ten Hag would like him. But now, the fact of the matter is, Kante has been getting so many injuries that United fans wouldn't be that much excited as they would have been like 3 to 4 years ago. Now, Kante would be a bad addition. That would be a good addition. Like in the figure around 25 to 30 million pounds, that wouldn't be a bad deal. But remember, guys, he's 31 years old. So you could go and get a younger replacement as a CDM, and perhaps there is a value in that player, and you can, if you want to sell them, then you can get your money back as well. Now, talking in terms of what other targets which have been targeted, it was quite surprising to find out. You've seen that I've put the pictures of Bellingham as well as Declan Rice. The fact of the matter is, Laurie Whitwell has reported in the same article that United are interested in Declan Rice. but they do know that they cannot price him away in this summer window. The fact is because West Ham don't want to sell him, and they don't want to sell him for less price. They want to sell him for good price, and they're looking out for 100 million plus. United cannot get 4 to 5 deals for 100 million plus. They haven't got that much money. So what United are trying to do is they are putting these in phases. So that means Declan Rice will be targeted next summer. But the most surprising name came in the name of Jude Bellingham. He reported that in United recruitment team, the most name which is coming out on top is Jude Bellingham. So guys, you need to watch out that Jude Bellingham will be number one transfer target in 2023 summer transfer window. So that means Erik ten Hag would love to have Jude Bellingham. Manchester United would love to have Jude Bellingham. Manchester United fans would love to have Jude Bellingham. They get him or they don't get him, that's another story. But Laurie Whitwell says that United have chosen him as the number one target for the summer transfer window next year. So that means United will be going in for him for that 100 million figure fee, perhaps maybe more, because Dortmund would be looking for more money. So if that would be the case, then that will be a pretty good addition. Now, as we have covered these two midfield names in Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham, we'll be speaking about Antony. It was reported a few days ago that Antony agents and his representatives are traveling to Europe or perhaps to England just to talk with Manchester United. Now, if Antony would be willing to move to Manchester United, he's going to cost around 50 to 60 million euros. So that means around 45 million pounds. Imagine if you get Frankie de Jong for 60 million, you get Antony for 40 million, you sign Eriksen for free, that's 3 players, and you spend 100 million. Now, if you tend to think that you need to find a centre back, such as Timber, who has been reported around 35 to 40 million, let's see if Erik ten Hag does convince him to join Manchester United. And if he does join Manchester United, your figure goes up to 135, 140 million. Now you have 4 players. But you'd still require a striker. You still require a central defensive midfielder. Let's say for a chance that you go for a striker, but then you have Cristiano Ronaldo, you have Anthony Martial, you have Rashford. Now, if you sell the likes of Martial and then you have Cristiano Ronaldo as your only striker, we're not going to talk about Mason Greenwood. He's under investigation. There's no point of going in for him because we do not know what his future will be. As long as he's under investigation, you cannot know for certain that if Mason Greenwood would be a choice for Manchester United. Now, speaking about the fact of the matter is, if you're looking for a striker, Darwin Núñez is looking to move to Liverpool. There is still talks going between Manchester United and his representatives. I think Darwin Núñez would like to play for Liverpool because I think Manchester United is a work in progress. Darwin Núñez as a player would think that, you know what, Liverpool have played in the final of Champions League. They're almost trying to win the Premier League along Manchester City, and I have more chance of winning trophies with the likes of Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp is an excellent manager, so I could understand why would he choose Liverpool, even though United could even spend a little bit more money. But there's no point, because if the player choice is that he wants to play for Liverpool, you can't do anything about it. United, what they can do on the other hand is, now this is what I think, this is what I believe to think is, United need to think outside the box. Now, if you're looking for a striker, there are not so many names out there, and you have to go for a younger striker. Now, if we go for a profile that we think that's perfect for United as a striker, you could go for many names, but you will still be not sure that, you know, if that kind of profile does suit Manchester United. Like, let's talk about Victor Osimhen. He plays for Napoli. Now, Victor Osimhen, would he be a suitable candidate to be an out-and-out striker, a number 9 for Manchester United? Some of you would say he would be. I would say he would be. But will he be? That's a question mark. Can he do in Premier League? That's a question mark. Now, if you go for the likes of Jonathan David, who is a target for Arsenal, and if you go in for a player like him, you would think, you know what, he's an upcoming name. He might do a good job. But the question here lies is that, is he better than Rashford? Because Rashford can play as a striker. Because if you got Antony coming in, he'll be playing as a right winger. You got Jadon Sancho will be playing as a left winger. Then where does Rashford play? So that means either one of Sancho or Rashford will be sitting on the bench, because if Antony comes, Eric Ten Hag will starting him straight away. And I think that Eric Ten Hag would want both of Sancho and Antony starting up front. He would need those two wingers, and I think he will start in that manner, and he will have Cristiano Ronaldo playing up front. I think Rashford will have to fight for his place. So Rashford could play as a part striker, part winger. So he can play as a left winger, he can play as a striker. So when Cristiano Ronaldo is on the bench, Rashford will be playing up front as a striker. Now when you have this kind of situation, and if you sell the likes of Martial, and you think that you want to get Jonathan David, now the point comes here is, would you bench Cristiano Ronaldo and ask Jonathan David to start, whereas Marcus Rashford himself is sitting on the bench? Now that's too much to ask. So I think that United wouldn't go in for the likes of Jonathan David. What United would tend to do is they would tend to wait, or you could say they could go in for a surprise, and I think that's what they should do. They should go for a player such as Lautaro Martinez, because Lautaro Martinez is an excellent player. He plays for Inter Milan. He is a superb player. He does excellent job playing in varieties of position up front. He can play as a striker, he can play as a centre forward, he can play as a number 10, he can play as a lying number 9 or a false number 9 kind of striker. He could switch to the wings. He is an all-over player. He reminds me of Tevez. He reminds me of Wayne Rooney. He can do so many things that none of the modern strikers tends to do. He has a short height. I do understand that perspective, but in the modern game, it doesn't tend to play that much. I think when he played with Lukaku under Antonio Conte, when they did win the Serie A, he scored about, I think, approximately like 18 to 17 goals. So that's a lot, that's not that bad. So what I expect for Manchester United to do is to target a person like him, because the valuation which was reported was 60 million euros. So if you say that if you get Lautaro Martinez for 50 to 60 million, and now you have those 4 players, so that means you got Eriksen on a free, Frankie de Jong for 65 million, you've got Antony for 40 to 45 million, so that comes up to 110, and you got 3 players, and you add Timber for 35 to 40, so that comes up to around 150 million, and you add Lautaro Martinez, that comes up to 210. Now you spend 210, you've got 120 million, you sell some players for around 60 to 80 million, that's 180 million. You've got net spend of minus 30 million. Now that's not a bad transfer window. Imagine if you present Eric Ten Hag with these 5 signings. Now I'm going to repeat those names again. Eriksen, Frankie de Jong, Timber, Antony, and Lautaro Martinez. Now these 5 players, if you do present to Eric Ten Hag, I think he'll be happy. He'll be over the moon. Now I do understand the perspective of central defensive midfielder. The point here is that if you haven't got a clear target, if you haven't got somebody who would you think that, if he comes into our team and he would take United a little bit up, then there's no point of going for other defensive midfielders. Now if your recruitment team is working on Declan Rice and they think that Declan Rice is the player, then you should go for that kind of player. But if you have somebody like Tchouaméni and you're not going in for that kind of player, then that means your recruitment team is not doing a good job. Your recruitment team should have been all over Tchouaméni. You should have been sending Sir Alex Ferguson to France, speaking to his family, speaking to him. You should have spent David Beckham to his home. You got all these ex-players as your ambassadors. You should have been really laying down flowers for him, and you should be trying to get this person, because a player such as Tchouaméni could really change the way Manchester United play. And I think he would have been the perfect player for Eric Ten Hag. Imagine the likes of Tchouaméni and Frankie de Jong playing in your midfield. I think that it would have been one of the midfield pairs in the Premier League, and United fans would be all over the moon for that kind of player. Now, because Tchouaméni is going to be signing for Real Madrid, so we can say that he's out of the box. We come back to the Declan Rice question. Now Declan Rice, if he's available in the next summer transfer window, I'm sure that West Ham would want and they would demand more than 100 million. Now if your principal target, your key target next summer is Jude Bellingham,
as it has been reported in The Athletic, that next season Manchester United will be going in for Jude Bellingham. So then what it means is you will be spending about more than 250 million on two players. Now, if is that your requirement, that means you need to get other positions in this window. So what you tend to do is you get a right winger, which is Anthony, so you cover that position. You get quality midfielders such as Eriksen and Frankie de Jong, so that position is covered as well. You get a centre back, which is Timber, so that's covered. So you got winger, centre back, two midfielders, and if you get a striker such as Lautaro Martinez, so you got 5 positions covered. And next season you go in for a central defensive midfielder in Rice, as well as Jude Bellingham, and then you can sell the likes of Fred and you can sell the likes of McTominay, and then your squad quality improves. You got the likes of Donny van de Beek, who could be a replacement, who could come out as a substitute. And what it means is that if United do want to improve the quality of the squad, then they have to decide between this window and the next window. What they need to do is they get those 5 players in, so that's 5 quality added players, and next year Cristiano Ronaldo would either not re-sign and he would go for new experience. So that means Lautaro Martinez will be starting up front, and the question of Marcus Rashford will become more clear, because we'll see him playing one season under Erik ten Hag. Mason Greenwood's future will also be rounded up, so we'll find out what's happening with it as well. So Erik ten Hag, by the year he comes to, let's say, number 3 year, like the number 3 summer transfer window, you will have a shape of Erik ten Hag team, and the only players that he'll be looking will be, from my perspective, would be a right back, a left back, a goalkeeper, and maybe another winger. So that'll be 4 positions, and that can be covered in the 3rd transfer window. So there'll be a complete overhaul, there'll be complete change of personnel, and as well as, not only that, what will happen is, imagine if Tariq Lamptey becomes available. Imagine if the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he does leave Manchester United. Then in the 3rd transfer window, you could say, you know what, we do need a right back, because you're relying on Dalot, you're relying on the likes of Shaw, and you think that you need to change your fullbacks. Then you can, in the 3rd transfer window, you can go and target those kind of players in position. Now, what Manchester United should be doing is they should be thinking that this is a window in which they need to raise about 180 to 200 million, and they get these 5 players, and it'll make their job easier. So that's what United should be trying to do. So according to Laurie Whitehall, what I think is that United are looking to bring in another midfielder. I do understand the reason why, because Matic is leaving, Pogba is leaving, Lingard is leaving, McTominay and Fred, we are not sure about them. You have got Donny van de Beek, you will be getting Frankie de Jong, and you have Garner as well. Garner, we do not know if he's going to stay or if he's going to go out loan. We do need to find out about that one as well. But anyway, we'll do find about Garner as well. But now, talking about the current midfield roster, you got McTominay, you got Fred, you have got Donny van de Beek, you've got Maybury from the academy, so that's 4 players. Now imagine if you had Frankie de Jong and you got Eriksen, so that's 6 players. So you can ask McTominay to play as a defensive midfielder. I know that's going to be a little bit too much, but you've got no choice, because I do not know if there's any other name. I heard about Sangare from PSV. I do know that Erik ten Hag has come from Eredivisie. Now if he thinks that Sangare is a player, then he might get him, but if he knows for sure that he is the player, then he will have to sell one more player. It could be either McTominay or Fred, and I think that he would want to keep McTominay and Fred for one season, and he would want to evaluate and see if he wants to keep them or not. Most probably United fans would say that he needs to sell those 2, but I don't think so. Erik ten Hag is in the position to sell so many players in the first season, so I think McTominay and Fred will be staying. So those 2 guys are going to be for certain in the midfield roster. Going forward, you have Frankie de Jong coming in. So I think if he puts a 4-3-3 formation, in my case, I think his best three midfielders would be Frankie de Jong. He would be employing either Fred or McTominay, one of those, as a defensive midfielder. And it will be either Eriksen or it'll be Donny van de Beek. So I think these three would be his current midfield selection. That'll be his best midfield selection. That's what I think. He will give opportunity to the likes of Mabry, and McTominay and Fred will rotate. So that's the midfield he's going to go with. Whereas coming up front, he will get Anthony on the right wing. He will have Sancho on the left wing. He'll have Cristiano Ronaldo up front. Marcus Rashford will be a standby in for either a left winger or a right winger or a striker. That's the role he's going to play. And if United aren't able to sell Martial, then maybe Martial will play a bit part role, but I do think so they would want to get rid of Martial. So that's what it is, guys, and that's what I think is going to be. That's the transfer update we have. So currently Frankie de Jong is closed. Anthony people are speaking to Manchester United, whereas next season prime transfer targets are going to be Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. But Jude Bellingham is going to be the number one priority for Manchester United to sign next summer. So that's the update that we have for today. And Darwin Núñez is close to signing for Liverpool. So United will have to look in other places for the striker. Who that striker will be, Calvert-Lewin, or will it be Lautaro Martinez? Will it be Jonathan David? We still need to find out. I think the best thing to do would be to sign Lautaro Martinez, because Inter Milan, they most probably will be trying to get back Lukaku, and they're trying to sign Dybala on a free. So that means United should go in for Lautaro Martinez, and he'll be a superb addition. I think all the United fans would love to have Lautaro Martinez. And trust me, guys, this World Cup, when it's coming in November and December, this player is going to shine for Argentina. He's going to take Argentina to different places. And he's not something like Higuain. He's not something like Aguero. He's a much different player. He is a combination of so many players. And I think that Lautaro Martinez should be a prime transfer target for Manchester United for the striker position. And they should try to get him at all costs. So guys, that's what I have for the updates. Hopefully you would have loved this episode today. Please do subscribe to the channel, and please do let me know how did you like this one. And I'll be trying to bring you these updates as soon as the story breaks. So we'll be talking about this. So I want to thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, press that like button, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice one. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice one. Thank you very much.